Kafou, Haiti voodoo and art is structured chronologically. It flows successively from the 1940s through to the present moment, showing us a development of Haitian artworks related to voodoo over 7 decades. Kafou begins with the outpouring of art practices from the lower classes of Haitian society from a moment when they became domestically and internationally recognised. And histories of Haitian art often begin in this 1940s moment but fail to go beyond that, and they fail to go beyond some of the problematic terminologies that were applied to the artwork as it became known internationally in the 1940s, and so has limited the reception of Haitian art from that period and beyond. So for example, we have Mlan Constance work, which can be talked about in relation to voodoo, in relation to its form as a kind of modified or progression on voodoo drapeaux, ceremonial flags used by voodoo practitioners. And her works often directly engage in their content, symbolism and iconographies of voodoo. The work titled Agwe is associated with the voodoo loire, who is associated with water, with the sea. So we can also see in the work mermaids that denote la sirène, that are also associated with Agwe. But we can talk about this work in terms of its art historical significance, in terms of Constance's practice as a revolutionising of the voodoo drapeau genre of artworks. She creates works that exceed the traditional size of voodoo, functional voodoo flags. She employs a solid bead technique that's revolutionised the way these artworks are made. So she employs a painterly style, which is a new approach to producing Haitian voodoo flags. So we can also talk about Constance's work as socio-political comment, and we can see the work Agwe, which features in the show, perhaps as a comment on the social reality of those individuals and groups, often labelled boat people, who are trying to illegally immigrate. And this is a global phenomenon of those marginalised in societies who are often trying to escape poverty or political persecution. And in Haiti, this is a reality. There are many people who are trying to immigrate to other Caribbean islands or to the US. The work of Philomé Aubin is interesting because he was mostly influenced by trying to document historical moments in Haitian history, important moments, rather than being directly engaged with voodoo. He was the founder of a branch of the Centre d'Art in the north of Haiti, in Cap Haitian, and his influence can be seen on generations of Haitian artists that came later. So if we look directly at some of his works in the show, we see that documents a state funeral of Henry Christophe. He also paints a portrait of Charlemagne Perrault, who is a really important figure in Haitian history. Perrault was a leader of rebel forces against the US occupation of Haiti in the early 1915 to 1919 era, and then he was a martyred leader of the resistance forces. And so we see Aubin making political comments on the occupation and recording a moment that perhaps otherwise would be little known. Also, Aubin's meticulous style of painting, the detail, light in his works, we can see influencing generations of Haitian artists to come. And it's interesting that many of the artists that he influenced, or the whole group of artists that arose around the work of Aubin in Cap Haitian, were also members of the Aubin family. And we can trace a biographical link from Philomé Aubin in the first room of the exhibition to Zephran in the third room of the exhibition, who was the nephew of Philomé Aubin's son. But also we can see art historically a link between Aubin and Zephran in the concern to document historical moments and also to make political comment. Among Zephran's work in Kafou, we see the coronation of King Henry Christophe. We also see a work called Coup d'Etat, which is documenting recent events in Haitian politics, the military's role in the ousting of Jean-Bertrand d'Aristide. And we also see a piece called The Slave Ship Brooks, which documents the slave trade in relation to Haitian history, and is kind of highlighting that history at the roots of Haitian society, the roots of Haitian history. But aside from historical influences in Zephran's work, we also know that Zephran is active as a Vodou practitioner. He's a Vodou priest, and so we also see him kind of taking a new spin on historical approaches that Oban wouldn't have taken, and we see him kind of interweaving into this historical documentary and political comment Vodou iconographies, or expressing history through visual languages of Vodou, which you can trace back to artists such as Hector Hippolyte in the first room of the exhibition. So Haitian art history from the era of the 1940s onwards, as it's been narrated, has often been punctuated by moments of outsiders' discovery, and this is documented in the Kafou exhibition through some of the video footage that we see on the galleries. So first we have Stanley Cypher's footage of the Centre d'Art era of the 1940s, and we see DeWitt Peters, who is often narrated as an early discoverer of Haitian art. So we also have in the second room of the show Maya Deren's video Divine Horseman, which was filmed in the late 1940s and early 50s, and Deren is again known as a kind of, or discussed as a discoverer of Haitian art. There were also other surrealists such as André Breton, and later in the 1970s André Malraux, who had encounters with Haitian art and talked of that encounter as a discovery. And it's interesting that that kind of experience has been replicated again recently in the contemporary art world with the Venice Biennale of 2011, where Haiti for the first time had a national representation through a pavilion there. And we can see that for a lot of people in the discourse that was produced around the Haitian pavilion, that this was a kind of innovative moment, a moment of discovery for many people. There are some downsides to the idea of discovery though, of discovering Haitian art, because of course it implies a sort of neo-colonial perspective that this history is being told from the perspective of the discoverer. And there's also the idea in discovery that in order to continually discover the artworks or the art practices of a place, in between times we're continually forgetting these artworks exist, or the importance of Haitian art practices. And in the idea of discovery also, there's a suggestion that somehow the Haitian art world and Haitian artists are removed, are separate from the wider art world, and certainly from the contemporary moment and the contemporary art making community. And so this is why having Kafou within the context of a contemporary art gallery is so important, because it is making the clear point that our Haitian artists are active in the contemporary moment. They're internationally engaged, and they have a significant presence within the contemporary art world.